So today is March 10th, 2015. It's our 35th podcast, and we have a wonderful comedian, nonsense man, rapper. He's many things, which are all really awesome. So I would like to say, Zak, welcome to the show.
Kajo there. I had a genre semicolon unclassifiable happen without me being a part of it, and I like that. So in the future, I am unclassifiable, bro.
Unclassifiable. No, I like that.
Too.
That is cool. So it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I guess just getting right into it, you do plenty of stuff. You're a comedian, you're a rapper, you're unclassifiable, but you do all these amazing things. Usually our first question for the guests is, who are you, where do you come from, and what is your purpose on Earth?
Who am I? I am Zachary Winchester Phillips, 377-040361. 16922 Mary. I'm that sometimes. Like, I work at midnight tonight at a group home, and when I clock into that, I actually do sometimes uphold the character of Zachary Winchester Phillips. There are some times where I'm like talking to my cat or babies, and then I become like a hybrid magical turtle and myself when I was 3. Sometimes I'm talking to people who are in my own age group and like thing of that nature, and then I become Zak Winchester, the smarmy, sarcastic, jokey, playing around with you most of the time. You can't get him to say a single sincere thing. And then Zak and What Army sometimes, and that's like in development. I don't really know how to really describe what that character is, but I'm Zachary. I'm a magical turtle. And what's the other one? Where am I from? Where do I come from?
Yeah, where do you come from?
Woods. I come from the woods. I come from the slime and the blueberries and birds and the aphids, although I don't identify as a bird these days at all. I think I'm the least bird-like person I know, even like there's like an aerodynamic thing sometimes that I suppose one could perceive, but I am so not a bird. I identify more as a reptile, but I came from whence I came. I am the life. I am the life goo. I am the goo of life that now like can play RPGs and smokes its cannabis. Not even smokes it, just heats it to the point where it vapors into me. We've come a long way, but here we are, and yeah. The answer to where do you come from, where do you go, is yes. I am not quite sure. Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Where am I going?
Yeah, you can say that too. Where are you going?
Wherever I end up getting to, I suppose I should proclaim at that time that that's where I was trying to go, because then I yes. So I'll answer that question in like 12 years, because that's when I hit my. I'm pretty sure I peak in 12. But right now I'm going wherever I'm welcome and wherever there is work of this sort to be done, I suppose.
Yeah. Wonderful. And how old is your physical body at this current time?
I am 26 years of age, born August 2nd of 1988.
Wonderful. You are the year of the dragon.
I suppose. I'm good friends with the dragon. Several, actually, but one for sure.
Is he in space?
He sometimes circles throughout space.
Wonderful. Your bio on our page says our species has hence entered an age of sheer recreation, exploration, innovation, absurdity, and bliss. Could you expand a little bit further on these words of yours?
Well, I'm going to revise that really soon, so it's funny that you bring it up. It's like I'm having that read to me. I have no memory of these things. I have no memory of this place. But I have no memory of that, so I can't tell you what I was thinking then, because it really changes day by day. And in a week, it's entirely different, and in a month, I can't even identify as myself in a photograph of 2 months ago, let alone like relate with any of the things going on in that weirdo's head. But
Yeah.
I said, I think that a possible solution to our semen problems would just be stopping a lot of the nonsense things. Like, you really just have to get your next meal in you. You're going to have an array of biological impulses throughout the day. Satisfy those, especially the ones that keep you alive. But the ones that just give you funsies as well, like I'm not here to distribute the shoulds and shouldn'ts of life, but you should be enjoying yourself. And if you were only trying to enjoy yourself, like I wouldn't see a lot of the things that are seeming problematic about what humankind is doing, being that much of a. They wouldn't have much selling points if we were all just knew that, like, we can relax now. The thing that we were all stressing out about to, like, industrially revolutionize the way stuff is made and sold and whatnot, like, we did it. We got it. Like, we're stocked up for a while, actually. So you can just kind of gel now and focus on things like enjoying yourself and creating the next entertainment thing, and just add space exploration. That would be neat, huh? And
Yeah, I'm very interested. So it's funny you say that. Would you be an astronaut? Would you go to Mars if you had the chance?
Same reason why I don't want to be like a mortician. It's just a lot of schooling. Like, I feel like there's certain jobs that I really feel like I'm well suited for that. Like the mortician thing. Like, I feel like I could execute that job well, because I'm not spooked out by the whole concept of death as a lot of folks are. Like, I really think that could become a thing that I've read books about, like, folks who there is this. And anyway, there at some point, anything that you do as a profession becomes, you're just clocking in. That's why it's like you can be in the ER and you're there like, holy shit, this place is crazy. Like, there's so many different situations going on here. But Nurse A or Doctor C, who has been there for 5 years, is just like, oh, this is Thursday. This is what Thursdays usually look like. So anyway, I by all means would like to go to space. By all means would sure love to help with the whole space exploration, like the task at hand. However, I don't want to. I'm done with school. I don't want to school anymore. I don't want to do that.
Right. Did you go to school, and what did you go to school for if you did?
Let me see.
College-wise.
Well, I started out with a run at the what is called, what do they call it? It's hilarious. U of M59, Hall Road High, Macomb Center campus. But from I went to Specs Howard School of Media Broadcasting Arts. What were they calling it then? School of Media Arts, and I did radio there. And here we are.
Yeah. And you are on a radio show, aren't you?
Yeah, we do the Nonsensus. We just started really recently. Me and my friend Vosto, who is the producer of the God Fractal instrumental as well, like, he does most of my music. Me and Vosto. Yeah. A turtle in Romania who met me via YouTube, and then we started making art stuff together. He's a very good friend of mine, and we will have had radio shows in the past called Summoning the Nonsense, and now I have a radio show with one Sarah Hall, who has been on your program, and we're doing a thing called the Nonsensus, which is a census of nonsense.
All right. How do people find this Nonsensus radio show?
Well, as of right now, Dark City Radio is where it happens. www.darkcityradio.com. If you go to that, they'll immediately have a little player that pops up, and you are immediately listening to whatever they're broadcasting. They are awesome. That is a group of international turtles who the common thread is just like trying to help. For the most part, that if you tune in there are folks who are by all means, because I think the most important thing is that international communication. That just, even if just for enjoying yourself, it's awesome that we can do it, and we should. And Dark City Radio has helped a lot of international connection happen. It has
for sure. One of the our mission statement, we're just starting to revise it. We're changing up a lot of things here, but part of it's going to be to promote global unity, and so I feel like what you're saying there sort of resonates with that. And I was gonna, you did mention your God Fractal song that your friend and yourself worked on, and it says one of the lyrics in that song is, "The light and divine truth was always inside you. I'm here to remind you that you are God." Could you please explain a little bit more on the fact that you're here to remind us that we are God? Could you just give us a little bit more?
Well, a good way for explaining that is I am in the process, which is just me feeling comfortable doing a thing online that creates the license. But there's this thing called the Creative Commons, where you said you discussed that at some point.
Yeah. You posted that on your Facebook, I believe.
Oh, but in short, it is. I'm going to give the song "The God Fractal" the lyrics, and it as a poem or as a as a work entirely to just humanity. So it gives it this this license that makes it so anyone who wants to remix it or put it to their movie or put it in their thing, pretty much anything may, without having to ask for my express permission, just credit that this is by Zak What Army and Vasto originally, and that would make it so you could pretty much karaoke it at your show, and as long as you said, "I'm gonna do a thing by Zak What Army," and then because I want that to be the case, because with that tune, like when I wrote it, I was in a particular headspace of like. I mean, what the song is saying, and there's several experiences that happened right before that song was to be written. It's interesting how I recall like having that instrumental made by one Vasto, and hearing it and being like, this is the most important thing that we will have made together. Like, I don't know what's going to be said on this, but this has the air of importance. And
it was a very epic song, and YouTube agrees. It has over 50,000 views. I saw that.
That's actually how I think I met you up in Michigan during Imminent Disclosure. I walked up to the stage because I heard you rambling some nonsense, and then you went and started singing God Fractal with Lyric, and I like stopped everything I was doing and like walked up, and you and Lyric were just like, I think you did it twice, and I was just like mesmerized by the entire event. It was one of my highlights of that weekend.
That was super magical. 9-year-old boy named Lyric knew the words to that, and they showed me a video once of him just like he just recites it, and that made me feel super good. That was great.
I actually believe he was on Project Bring You to Life, and he was at first we weren't sure he was going to come on when we interviewed Cord, and he came on at the end, and I think he actually asked if he could sing it and gave you a shout out, so you should watch that podcast because you got a major shout out during that. He was all about you.
Yeah, he did end up rapping one of your songs during the show.
Oh, cool! I'm gonna facilitate the film, the high definition filming of one Lyric reciting this. This has been a plan for a long time. It'll happen this summer. We're all getting over a rather intense hibernation here now, and now we can actually start doing things with one another, which is great.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful hibernation at times. I know there's been a lot of difficult moments for a lot of people. How's your hibernation been going? How are you feeling?
Well, I mean, I took quite a thorough advantage of it this year. And every year I always have this idea that, like, in the winter I'm just going to entirely hunker down and get things done that is, like, the not-so-fun stuff, the editing of videos and the mixing of the songs, and recording songs is super fun. And mixing can be super fun, but it's the tedious things that don't involve being in the woods, running around with all the turtles, having, experiences in three-dimensional reality, more so like 2D creation. Like things that like all the internet has and shall continue to bring me a lot of joy. But man, after like 3 months of that being your window to other minds and hearts, if you will, perhaps souls, I'm really glad to get like on ground level with people again soon. Like
Yeah, for
It's,
sure.
Right.
Getting a little bit of cabin fever there.
Yeah,
I know
would-
we are.
It is a thing. Got out yesterday, off the road,
Okay.
went to the woods, went to Stony Creek, and ran around on the frozen. I was about to call it a lake. I suppose it's a creek. And on the fire on the frozen creek, it was great. It was in tropic.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say you're a wonderfully silly and masterfully nonsensical man. And I am curious, where do you get such a humor from? Like, who are your influences?
I mean, reality is pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
really only if you look at it through the lens of seriousness that I mean, this really helps. And you were saying about what of a hibernation I've been having, like remaining cannabinated has really helped this winter. Like it is because I find that that the cannabis things, I am incapable of despair when this is in me, and so you know, there's times where not necessarily despair, but like going to the low places is very much necessary and very much helps with growth. One says that it's the deepening of a person is when they experience those lows and, like, you know, periods of somberness. But I've been really glad to be able to spend the winter like not just being able to observe those kind of thoughts and topics, and I feel little pain, you know, because of said things. It really is a magical thing that this is becoming not so illegal, and it's happening fast. What was the question, though? Oh my God, I've wandered terribly.
Inspires you, I think.
Yeah, where your influences were.
Oh,
But I like
as far as people,
Yes. Or cats.
Or turtles.
I mean, every cat, and you know, I don't mean to be like corny and cliche, but literally everyone I've ever come in contact with has influenced things. I'm beginning to see it more now as I'm giving less credit to like myself, whatever that is. So like when a song gets written, I'm like, I am this bag of meat and fluid and chemistry that's been receiving all this information throughout my life. And when I wrote said song, though it may be perceived as like, oh, he's talented, he went and did a thing and he made art, like really what happened is I had the vocabulary, the arsenal of concepts that I did not create. I wandered into them, and you know, I definitely like George Carlin and Bill Hicks on the stand-up comedy side of things. I think Louis C.K. is one of the most enlightened turtles that has ever held a microphone. I think that he is a guru in many ways of like the modern experience. It is one must listen closely, but I just watched his newest special last night, and he just breaks down so many social paradigms in such a lovely way, in such a way where you can't even. I like that you can watch him and just think that it's dick jokes and just silliness, but he's a deep man. I definitely respect him. But in the music category, I listen to girls, and I actually have a policy about that. I don't know how the world will think of that, but like I kind of stopped listening. I can't name a single rapper that I like listen to now, because it's not like a fear of. It's like, you know how I said about when you get concepts from other people and whatnot. So every conversation I've had that day is going to affect, and it's going to be all I have to draw from when I'm thinking about, or like now we're talking. You know, I found that when I listen to anything that is even remotely similar to what I'm trying to spew, I can get distracted by the idea of like how I would have done it, or something like that. It's not all the time, but I feel very safe listening. I mean, Amanda Palmer is my favorite artist. I'll just say that right out. And
have you heard this?
What's that?
Have you heard any of Rita Rose's stuff?
I'm not familiar with Rita Rose.
Yeah, she's one of the musicians on our website, and she's a female rapper who is
From Pittsburgh.
from Pittsburgh. I would say she's got
pretty good.
She's got some pretty light coded lyrics.
Yeah, she raps about chakras and wakening up and just her experience through pretty much the awakening scene in Pittsburgh, and like how she was trying to get away from, pretty much like you said, like listening to the normal, and she just broke out, and as a female she's like really doing it more so than most I've I've known.
Yeah, she's I would say politically activist. Like,
Yeah, she's doing
activist.
it.
Yeah.
You should check her out.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, is because as soon as you said that, they were in the chat saying Rita Rose.
Really?
Rita Rose.
So, Rita Rose.
Check her
Yeah.
out.
Check her. She's a wonderful female rapper.
I just found a rapper via the YouTubes, just stumbled upon it, called Lily Fangs. So magical and profound.
Lily Thane.
Lily Fangs. Lily Fangs with a F-A-N-G-Z. She does a lot of like spoken word stuff, and I love that. The thing with I feel safe, like I said, listening to the females is like Amanda Palmer. I feel heavily influenced. I mean, it's unavoidable if you're taking in so much of someone's vibe, if you will. Then you're going to emit something that is like influenced by that. You know, not necessarily emulating it, but you know. And I will flat out say, like, I idolize that lady in a lot, in many regards. I just read her book, Art of Asking, and it's like really helped. But like spending time with somebody who's doing the lyrics thing, like, it's that being authentic with that is something that is very rare out there, and like I feel so undebatably authentic and sincere. And even though it's like she is talking about mostly like relationships and day-to-day life stuff, and I try to like not have a narrative and talk about concepts and things. I feel most influenced musically by Miss Amanda Palmer, just because I wish to, more so than to be impressive or technical or like talented, I would really like to be genuine and honest and sincere, and that is a difficult thing day to day to remain that, to check oneself and make sure, like, am I for real, as it were.
For sure. That's yeah, I appreciate that. That's something I honor very much, is authenticity.
Jim Henson.
Yes, I was curious about some of your impersonations. I saw a video on YouTube that you did, and it was a impersonation of Terrence McKenna, and that one was actually very impressive. I was wondering if you had any more impersonations that you enjoy channeling.
I went down a Macho Man Randy Savage YouTube rabbit hole tonight, and he was like, Hogan. Oh, what does he say? He's he was talking about calling Hulk Hogan out for like a fight. He's like, we're gonna have the first real fight in the ring, yeah, and all the proceeds are gonna go to the Children's Hospital, and he refused, and I just want to know, Hogan, what do you got against the sick kids, Hogan? Hogan, why don't you fight me on air in the first real fight? Oh yeah. He was a character. Wrestling in general, to look back on and to think that there was a time where I was truly riveted by this. Not only believed that it was real, but was certain that it was one of the most important things happening in my experience. Like Goldberg, when Goldberg was I watched when he finally lost, I was heartbroken. And when he did well, and when something epic happened, when he hit the spear, I would just, wow! And I would think about it all day. And now I look back, and it's like poorly acted, very, just a very thin veil of even trying to be reality. And it's beautiful to think that at one point I was so convinced by that. And now I look at it, and it's like, it's still awesome, but more so from like knowing about how entertainment works, and like, I watched Goldberg versus Hogan for the title, and just watching this arena be electrified, and like it's a religious thing. It's like it's truly epic and spirit. It's thousands of people focusing all their thoughts on a thing, waiting on every moment, seeing it live, and being emotionally invested in it. And just that moment when he picks him up for the jackhammer, like, oh! It reminds me of like certain things that I've experienced, like at festivals and in theogenic experiences. It's just a different venue, and same thing with like professional sports and things. Like just a different. It's a different venue, and one could say that it's not as spiritually or emotionally rewarding or substantive as the things that folks like you and I are into, but there is the same electric whatever the hell thing happening in the Joe Louis Arena when the Red Wings win the Stanley Cup as almost anything that I can think of that happens in the world, because it's a ton of minds and just being fully convinced that it is the important thing, and then just watching them explode with happiness or getting their nights ruined, as I've seen many times.
Yeah.
I think different people find different spiritual connections to different events. Like, to them, that was God's way of showing them that miracles can happen, is somebody won a certain game or at a certain wrestling match or anything like that. Like, different people have different connections.
Yeah. I was writing earlier this week or last week that it's important for us to just not like go through any experience and have judgments about it, like, oh, this is bad. Just being a human and going through the human experience is something very unique and interesting. So to go to something like a wrestling match, I don't know if you watch Star Trek, but Data, he's just such a curious being, and I feel like that's how we should be, because that's how we learn the most, is just being curious and being open to different and unique experiences. It's wonderful, and you provide a lot of those unique experiences.
Sure.
Well, it's like so you mean like, instead of approaching I'm going to go to this Super Bowl party where there's going to be a bunch of conservative Republicans and they're all going to be drinking, and I think one of them it might be a wife beater, like, sort of situation. Instead of entering that with like, I don't know, I don't want to go and be with the orcs in Mordor, like all these disgusting people. I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing I can learn from these idiots. I'm finding that when I go into situations, not that exact situation, but but sometimes similar. I mean, like. But you go in just as an observer, as a collector of data, and just observe folks that are very, very different from you and have a very different idea of what is important. If I could observe my 14-year-old, was I done with wrestling then? Definitely at 12. My 12-year-old self and the things that I thought were important, i.e., like, if Goldberg won that Monday night on Nitro, I could look at, from outside point, I would look at that and be like, oh my God, that's not the same brain that I have. That's not the same perspective that I have now. I guess that's me, like, kind of the same, like, material, which isn't even true, because like your cells regenerate thing. But yeah, when one of the things I really like about getting older, and just having less holdups, because you just kind of realize that the spider is more afraid of you than you are of it in being more situations. I'm really curious about things. Like, I performed at the Gathering of the Juggalos once, and had things thrown at me, like a lot of things. And I actually was a Kermit the Frog puppet, and like throwing things. My friend was juggling knives, and they threw a 2-liter to try to, and like at the knives that he was juggling. Like, it was bad, but like, and at the time I might have had a little bit more anger about it. Like, now I would love to go back and perform the Gathering of the Juggalos and like just observe, like, and I really find it enlightening. There's so much talk about like the consciousness festivals, and like, I attend Burning Man, and that there's a lot of culture around that as to suggest that it is something that will enlighten you, and it certainly can. But I really do feel like a NASCAR event would enlighten me more because of how foreign it is to me. Like, every time I go and put myself in a situation like that, where it's like, this is not the world that I like am comfortable dwelling in, but I want to know, it expands the mind in the same way, like, taking an entheogen and seeing like how it may actually be laid out, with science-y jargon of like what makes up reality and what you're perceiving. Just seeing this ever complexifying blob of biology and nonsense just going on. Like, that's what I get out of going inside of a Walmart sometimes.
Right.
I feel you.
Yeah, definitely. It's very interesting doing the experiences like that, and instead of like dreading it or having expectations of how you might feel or whatever, just being open to it and knowing that it's not going to last, and really, life is basically a movie. It's a play, and once we're done, we're just going to go back and look back and wish that we could do more and experience more. And I was going to ask you about your nonsense night that you've been throwing at the Tangent Gallery. You seem to be an appreciator of the interesting and the weird. Um, how would you describe this nonsense night, or what would you say about it?
Well, the goal is to take cherry pick from a lot of the events that I've gone to and maximize on the things that I enjoy, which is mostly just that freedom of absurdity, like chaos within a kind of schedule and somewhat structure is what I really enjoy. Like that's what I'm trying to do with the Nonsensus too. Is it's a show that can happen whenever, and eventually I'd like to make that Creative Commons too, and just pretty much give the world permission to be like, hey, I'm Frank Roswell here in Sussex, Indiana, and welcome to the Nonsense, and that be just as much the nonsense as if I do it. To just have this idea of the loose concept of we talk as if we're trying to figure out what's going on with reality by talking about everything from sex stuff to spiritual stuff to socio-sexual spiritual stuff, and how that all relates to like political nonsense and stuff, and everything from food to wrestling. But though I don't think Sarah Hall would be much up for the wrestling conversation.
You could be surprised.
The loose confines of it's an event. It's a thing you come to. It will be happening between this time and that time. I like to have good performers there that are ready to do their thing, but really more and more as I effort to try to get people to understand that that's what they're coming to, and that it's a thing that they contribute to, and that will be awesome if they bring the awesome, and can still be awesome if they just come to observe the awesome. And it's good to have observers. I think sometimes an observer is an awesome participant. Like, man, I cannot tell you how much of a difference it makes, like an audience of 12 to an audience of 30 to an audience of 100. Like those numbers really matter until you get up into like many hundreds, and then it's just like it just becomes this amorphous blob of humanity, thought,
Everywhere.
and receivers. But yeah, the Nonsensus, I would like to have a thing that hopefully goes on as long as I'm doing this and continues to fractal out. Maybe it happens other places and whatnot. But right now, I effort in Detroit to build a thing where people feel welcome to be the thing that makes it awesome as well as just to go and gather, man. Like I really feel we really need that. Like when it's a Friday night and I am an unattached single male who like wants to meet new friends, who wants to perhaps meet people who are trying to do the same things with me, and we can team up and do awesome stuff. Perhaps a ladybird that I could develop a romantic or perhaps just frictional relationship with, whatever. I feel like my options are the bar, which I'm no longer a fan of the bar. I feel like that I have observed that microcosm so much. I used to host karaoke, and like a wedding and bar DJ and whatnot, and I just I get that place. But I would really like to create a thing that it's like the focus is each other and the magical stuff we do, and not so much the drink drugs, although those are also available at the Tangent Gallery. But a thing and an art party, if you will. You know? My parents used to have a card party. There was Skittles and pizza. I'd like to throw a monthly art party, or hopefully more. But for right now, it's monthly once it starts up again. Art party in Detroit.
We did have a question from the audience, just real quick. Samantha wanted to know about the radio show. Did you say it was Dark Horse Radio?
Dark City.
Dark City Radio.com.
Dark Horse is totally Katie Perry.
Yes, sorry. Whatever. Dark.
I-T-Y. Dark City. The City of Darkness. The City of Angels. The City of Darkness. Dark City Radio.
Is there a specific time for that?
I don't know. Does your Nonsense Radio show come on there?
Yeah.
What is it?
Friday at no, that's the general standard. I only know the standard time. It is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. And I'm not always on it because sometimes I have to work a shift at that time. But it becomes the nonsensus so fully when I'm not able to make it. Well, that was the first time that happened, actually, was last Friday, and I was not able to be there. Think of how different a conversation is with subtracting the smarmy and often sarcastic magical turtle from a trifecta of Sarah Hall and Chris Orozco is the other one, and there Sarah Hall is an angel therapist, as you know, and Chris Orozco is a life coach, and then I'm just a silly person who is skeptical of everything. And it's all just silly.
Motivational speaker.
Yeah, I would say you're an inspirational, motivational nonsense speaker.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Is that even?
But subtracting me from that conversation does quite a bit. You know, like it's that, and that's a really interesting thing that I'm super interested in, just observing how that goes. You know, like different dynamics of folks, because we're all so different, as I am from my 12-year-old Goldberg-loving self. Like every time you meet a new person, every time you're talking, it's like this person has a whole different idea of what is going on with all of this reality stuff, and I'm really impressed that we get along as well as we do, actually.
Humanity. Yeah, that's an interesting thing about Earth is we all get to have our own worlds and our own unique experiences. And it's important for us to do that as well. Would you say that in Detroit, Detroit gives you, you know, that space to have that nonsense night, or space to sort of be that artistic sort of nonsense, uncategorized place?
As in, is the city of Detroit a good container for what I'm seeking to do, are you saying?
Yes, exactly.
I think that's where he was going with that.
That's where I was trying to go.
Well, I mean, Tangent Gallery and that community is very much a vacuum in and of itself, and that is the perfect container. But it's kind of a microcosm of what Detroit is, and Detroit is a microcosm of, but the Tangent Gallery and the turtles I know who already know of its existence, and the circumstance of what it takes to bring a new person into that fold, because it's not a very known of venue, and it's very much like off the beaten path locale wise, that it's a lot like what my experience of trying to do entertainment in Detroit has been like, because for me, like, a crowd of 100 is a great success, and oh, it's awesome that we assembled these, you know, folks who probably came from all different places, this many from the city, this many from this suburb, and this place, and some from like the faraway outskirts of the metropolitan Detroit Fractal, you know, and so there's places like Chicago and places that I've yet to experience, like everywhere but Chicago and Black Rock City, but in Detroit, you know, we are credited for our sincerity, and people, our turtles, I value them much here, because you didn't just stumble into a thing that was, it's not like there's the menu is smaller, and for that people like make a choice what they do with their Thursday night. It's been in the past, but I don't know if I'm iterating this well, because it's, but you know, they say if you can make it in Detroit, you can make it anywhere, sort of thing. It's an awesome thing how much of an effort it is to unite the turtles of the Detroit Fractal, especially when you're not doing electronic dance music stuff.
Yeah, the electronic dance music is pretty big there in Detroit.
They like it, for sure.
Yeah, the magic. This Friday, the Magic Stick, me and Downtown Brown are having a show, and it's probably going to be, it's certainly going to be our last show at the Magic Stick, because it is becoming an entirely electronic dance music venue, which absolutely nothing against, but it makes it super magical this Friday, and a thing of importance, because I really have enjoyed myself at that venue before, and it will be an end of an era, and Downtown Brown are amazing, and they're recording their live album. Love those turtles.
Yeah, for sure. Downtown Brown. Everybody check them out. Okay, yeah. So I'll say to the audience, anybody watching in the audience, go ahead and get your questions ready for Zak, so we can start asking your questions for him.
I like
to see that he likes them, and we have one from Samantha, so we'll keep that on deck. So we do have time for a few more questions for Zak. Did you have anything that you wanted to ask?
I'll think about one.
Okay,
You're doing pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah. Is there anything that we have missed that you did want to get out on the show?
That is all.
Just in general, I really enjoy what you do. I mentioned earlier that you caught my attention at Image Disclosure with some of your nonsense, but you also caught it at 3 Days of Light. I was also like mid-mission looking for my hula hoop in my camera and like doing a million shine time things, and then like all of a sudden like I just like heard you on the main stage and there were lights happening and things going on as always, but like it was definitely your nonsense which caught my attention. Like I'm used to walking around and hearing the music happening and all different kinds of things going on, but like when you get in the zone, you emit this like energy to you where your nonsense just flows and it catches everybody's attention that's within earshot. So I definitely want to give you a shout out for what you do. It's definitely appreciated in the scene even though it's not electronic music.
Oh, thank you. I enjoy it, and I'm just figuring out like what it is and how to do it better, and how to maximize the sourceskin, as my friend and I, James Blang, coined at age 17 in the woods. But to maximize the sourceskin, it really helps when turtles say things like that, because I kind of have a weird perception of my own life, as I'm starting to observe pretty much everybody does. If you want like a good idea of someone, the last person to ask usually is them. Sometimes when it comes to like what they're doing and the value of their work, because most of us, including ourselves, it's you just got to keep showing up for work, you know.
Yep, exactly.
Sure.
Doing work. So our first question comes from Samantha. Would you like to read it?
Yeah, she was curious as to why you call everybody turtles and what's behind the magical turtles thing. Want to give us a rundown?
All right, there's several ways to answer this. Several of which are like pseudo-intellectual and stemming from some pseudo and actual scientific stuff. A good way to summarize it is, the Mandelbrot fractal, which I've heard is pronounced Mandelbro, was the guy's last name, which is great to me. I have a character called Bro Kyle, who is now Kyle Mandelbro. Like that is just so awesome that like the thing of all existence, Mandelbro. But the Mandelbrot or Mandelbro fractal, the Mandelbrot set, it's also called. Looks kind of like a turtle. It looks more like a turtle than it looks like anything else that I can look at it and see. And that is, in very, very layman's terms, because I am a layman and I don't really know what I'm talking about, but that is how they discovered like computer data complexifies. That is how it novelizes. That is how the fractal expands in real time. And so if the thing that everything is doing when reality or data is replicating and spanning out and branching out into the thing that we call everything, if it looks like a turtle from a bird's eye view, then and every little limb of it is also little turtle things can be recognized, then that means that well, I reserve the right as the definer of my own reality and the mouth sounds that I place on actual concepts to call all of you turtles, because it's very difficult to remain angry with a turtle, and I have experienced that some stuff that Yoda said was kind of true, or it seems to be have an actionable takeaway in reality about anger and fear and such like that. So if this may be a kind of a dated example, but if I look at Richard Cheney as a turtle, he's just confused. Oh, he's a snapper turtle. He's an angry turtle today. Oh, are you starting a war there, magical turtle? Then it's a lot. It's more difficult for me to hold on to like fury or as far as like a hatred for a thing, because we're all just turtles, and the whole thing in and of itself, if all of you and everything is what makes up this thing, that if I want to address it as one thing, which a lot of us are endeavoring to do, to like to be one with it all, as it were, it's a turtle, so you're a turtle, and my cat is a turtle, and I pets his belly, and I says you're the most magical turtle, and yeah, all from Darth Vader to Gandhi, Malala Yousafzai is the most magical turtle on the scene right now. She's the most magical, and Barack Obama's a turtle. He's a magical turtle. I would be excited to meet Mr. Barry. I think that he's He's super magical. He does what he can within the confines of this thing that is not like a lot of us. We just showed up at this thing, and it was all the weird and quote unquote wrong things about society right now. I didn't do that. But if I'm gonna try to make it better, whatever my idea of better is, then it helps if I can learn the rules of the game. You're not that good at Monopoly or chess if you just swipe the board and start beating your chest, or just like, well, you know what, man, I don't play chess because chess is just so it's just so divisive. Like, who is my opponent? Like, why can't we just hug it out? Like, I'd prefer to play a game like Yahtzee here when they win. You know, so that's one of the that's the biggest reason, or that's the one that I would share. You're actually one of the first ones me about that, like, and when it's not just been in a situation where it's me and a person face to face. Like, I suppose if I had to like give a public answer to that, then for the record, I would say because I love turtles, and just as much science and silly science, and there's just as much that I observe that I think makes it make sense or nonsense to think of everything as turtles. Yeah. Particularly living things.
This in the chat room.
Yeah, good answer.
There's also that turtles all the way down thing. You know about that? Turtles all the way down?
No, what is it?
There was a turtle who perceived it all to be turtles, as I just said, but then there's a quote of it, and she just says, "Nope, it's turtles all the way down." And with the Ambrot fractal thing, it kind of is.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Who's we got? Is it Brett or Ree next?
Ree had a question. She was curious as to what festivals or shows or events you'll be playing at or featured at this year.
Oh, geez, I'm gonna have to pull up my Google Calendar because I'm not sure of that. I've spent so much time just recently, like in the media works, being in my cave things. So festivals, so like things in the future. I'm gonna be at Kinetic Fire. I'm gonna be at a thing called Playthink. Those are both flow festivals. I goes to the Burning Man. I just got confirmation that I will be at the Burning Man. Let's think. Lakes of Fire I usually end up at.
Lakes of Fire.
Do we know if there's an imminent disclosure this year?
Yeah, you're gonna have imminent disclosure.
We do not know if it will happen at the same capacity that it did last year. There are many who are denying that it ever happened at all. But all I can say right now is it's question mark. It's period question mark.
Gotcha.
Period question mark.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Now, somebody did say, what kind of show is this? But I think that's more about...
I think they were asking about the radio show at first, but I think he answered the question.
I cannot really elucidate my like summer itinerary as it were right now, because that tends to happen on the go. I sent in for pretty much everything that seemed like it would contain my brand of weirdness. A lot of
Will you be at Electric Forest this year?
That is also unknown. I just, my only policy is I can't just, I made this for myself. It's funny, I was asked about this today. Somebody was asking, like give us stories from your experience at All Good. And I remember, like, I think it was like 2000, I forget what it was, when Flaming Lips played. And I had like an existential breakdown there that I experienced the karmatic echo of World War II, and I was like having mushroom tears on a hill while everybody was dancing in bluegrass, and it was quite a thing. But at the end of this whole, like, this weekend, you ever have You had a bad festival. Da, 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 da.
Yes, been there, done that.
We're in a I was in a place at that one, and one of the things that was the last festival that I could pay to be in the crowd, because, and not because of like, oh, I'm gonna be there with those peasants, I have to pay my Federal Reserve notes. Is because like when I'm there, I just notice that every time if I'm at a thing and I'm not able to perform at it, I just look at the stage and I think, oh man, it would be so much cooler if I had a time slot at some point, and I want it so bad. And I just end up getting like too racked with the desire to fully enjoy myself. So my policy now is just I will go where I am invited, not even necessarily hired, but invited. I can't. It just
Well,
even
if you
though
want to see
running around
that,
at the
invite
festival.
him, get him there.
I love running around and just like rapping in people's faces and doing like I've discovered that I actually enjoy that in a lot of ways more than a stage and amplification. It's like it's super awesome and it's super magical, and I loves doing it. It's just yeah, my actual ability to get myself to and buy tickets to things that I end up you know, doing such things. Yeah, I got to go where I'm invited, and I don't exactly know many of the places that I'm invited yet. If you happen to be listening to this and you throw a festival, hit me up. I'm very, very negotiable. Negotiable. I'm a negotiable.
You will make people smile. I can guarantee that, because you've caught me at some time.
Certainly will try.
We're here to...
Can we get you to rap at our faces for a second, or do something nonsensical for us? Is that a thing?
Okay.
If you're on the spot, you don't have to, but I thought it'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I can do a thing. I have this thing now where I wear my soul condoms when I do rappy things. Do I have those around me? Oh, man. It's okay. I can still do it. Soul condoms, sunglasses. I found that there's things you can do with eye contact if you deprive the world of it for a while and then unleash it like Cyclops with the laser beams. It can get super, super weird. And I'm also just coming to terms with the fact that I'm kind of shy in a lot of ways, and everybody has their different idiosyncrasies, and one of the things is that, man, it's weird out here being a turtle every day. Sometimes I'm totally down to do thing. Hey, I'm a display thing. I'm you know, the thing doing the thing right now. But there's some days where it's like, anyway, one of those days is not now, so I suppose I can go raw.
You can hide your eyes. You can do something fun.
It's okay. Hello, fellow human beings. I presume are seeing this luminescent spectacle we seem to be agreeing on. I've got to say we found the perfect rock for us to meet upon to tell you now exactly how Zachary learned to see beyond the motherfucking absurdity of everything we were to me before this Nicodemus-seeming tortoise sort of turned to me and said, "You are something the entire bloody universe is doing." But it wasn't just that truth speak nor the drugs that I was doing. You see, you things are ridiculous. And so the fuck am I. I put a puppet on my hand sometimes to help me speak my mind. I got this magical contraption in my coat that keeps me high, and I walk around all day knowing that one day we will die. But that does not bum nor creep me out. Now let me tell you why. You see, I think, which is to say that I observe that the meaning of existence, if there is such a thing, and if I'm so qualified to speak on such a subject, then I would say that I think that the meaning of existence is the seeking of these moments when we know the whole experience is geared to keep us open to the hopeful possibility that meaning is a notion that anything but a silly human ever seeks to know of, so just show up and get on with it. Explain to me the loss if this is all a blip of nothingness, and how the fuck do y'all exist? I'd still endeavor to revel in all this awesomeness. It often gets me thinking there must be something beyond just this. Trapper inducted too, glad that I got a fucking clue. Saddening if it's fucking you, but that is why the plan is to use inner-galactic with ratchet to flip the trapper in and use some momentum to level up and adapt to bliss. This isn't the kind of verbiage you dismiss. Strike up a little herbage, take a sit, and just listen. The only evil that's winning is the evil we invented creates. Just keep giving them hell. My fellow devils and demons, angels and heathens, effective sentience being, the strange that we wish to see in this world we all created to play the role of its seekers of the one true God who lives in that word freedom, which translates into every language when we shout it off a mountaintop or proudly off a pile of crops. The Nazis said we all should stop growing and smoking, but honestly, I will probably not. Remember when it used to be a thing to have to watch for cops? See, I am not about to drop the dream for anything. I've learned a lot. I think I'm ready for the entropy. Forever, endlessly, let it be what it's meant to be. I'll be there with these bells and whistles, killing shit relentlessly. This life was meant for me and mine to let our freak flags fly. And now that we are an idea, really, we can't die. The fear is leaving me every minute. It feels like I am on a mission to simply live and enjoy this ride. Good job.
That was awesome.
You're so kind. You're so kind. You are such kind. There's a video of Charlie Chaplin getting like a lifetime award from like I think it's from like the Oscars or something, and it is one of the most riveting things. Like he is just so clearly emotional about it. He's like, just thank you, you kind people. Thank you so much. It's so nice. Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, he's a great. So I believe this is the part where you get to ask us a question.
All right, I got it. People ask, what is the meaning of this, or what is your mission? What are you trying to do? Like kind of like when you ask me where am I going? If I said if I tell you when I end up there that that's where I was going, would that So if you were asked what is your function, what are you trying to do? What is that, and how is that different from whatever ends up happening? What are you trying to do?
You want to go ahead and start it off?
Ooh, I can. What am I trying to do? I'm just trying to motivate people. We're here for a reason, whatever that reason may be. Like you said, it could change, and if that reason changes, and that's what I was here to do. But currently, I'm here to motivate and to inspire and to keep people on their path, even though their path may be bumpy. That at the end of it, they're shining through. So my mission is to motivate.
That's a nice one. For me, I would say that personally, I feel like I'm here to promote that art, that music, that literature and poetry that I feel resonates with what is in my heart, what is in my soul, what I feel like will change the world and make it a place of more equality and fairness. And just those four avenues, or those four expressions, are the ones that I personally like to promote and to expand myself in. And so we are talking about doing a tour across the U.S. first. With it's sort of like a mini festival, but just going around the country doing it together. And I just want to, I feel like it's important to do this together. Like, we have all these artists that we're connected with, we have all these musicians that we're connected with, and people who do workshops and all that. And it is important for us to have our alone time and to sort of get within ourselves and find out who we are and what we want to do. But to team together, to go around and to just show everybody our gifts and our talents, and to show people that being here on Earth can be something that is beautiful, can be something that is wonderful to behold, and something that we can enjoy, and joy and all that stuff. So mainly the word that popped out was joy. So I'd like to spread joy to the world. So joy to the world.
You just went there.
All of the turtles in the deep blue sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know that you still have the chat room on projectformidlife.com going with applauds and yays from your freestyle and awesome nonsense. So, and someone, the person that was asking what kind of show is this, he says, now I understand.
Now I am.
Can I do my shameless pluggings now then?
Yes. Go for it. We were going to ask you, where can we find you, and go for it. Give us some shout-outs.
I'd say right now the best avenue to the doings of the Zak and the What Armies, which I identify as a member of. At times the front man of, but I would just say go to me on the YouTubes. Actually, if I could be super broy and chachi about it, Google me, bro, because it works. Because that's actually one of the things I was really happy to find when I discovered that I was Zak and What Army, that there's nothing else out there called that. So yeah, if you Google Zak and What Army with a Z-A-K, then the YouTubes come up, and the SoundClouds. I got some stuff up there, and the Facebook group. You can be my friend. Sometimes I'll say stuff on there. And apparently I'm on Funny or Die. I don't even remember doing anything. That Social Blade. What is that? Diaspora, the hip hop realm. But anyway, it works. So really, just I'm really trying to. I've been putting a lot of effort into the YouTube, and before summer gets going and we become in 3D and we're like people in a place doing things, I want to get as much content, as they call it this day, on there, because videos are forever, and yeah, I try to make everything that I do super available, and it's always for free. And if there's something that is like not downloadable for free on the SoundCloud, or just, well, it just wouldn't be not downloadable. I don't have anything for sale right now, or do I? I think I might have. You can get something for iTunes. Anyway, I'm going the whole crowdsourcing route. Like, I would highly prefer to just put everything out there and then just always have the hat out if people want to donate. And I'll intend to do a lot with like the Kickstarter-y stuff. I'm gonna be launching a Patreon soon, so like, everything is free that exists. And hopefully one day I'll be able to come to your town and do stuff in front of you and with you, because if I may say, it's better for me. I enjoy it more when we're like together, yo. So
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
all about
Well, thank you for being on the show, Zach. We really enjoyed having you on, and you definitely made our night. We weren't having the best day today, but you definitely cheered us up. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, well, I loves and appreciates you guys. You guys are the best, and Godspeed with your mission. And thank you for inviting the magical turtle to do the things and make the mouth sounds. It has been enjoyable.
Yes, we'll definitely have you on again.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on a round table and things like that to just get your point of view. It seems to be a very interesting one.
Yes. Oh, we're having a roundtable.
The last Tuesday of this month.
Last Tuesday, so that'd be March 31st, and
Yes.
it's going to be on Be True to You. So if you're interested, I feel like you'd be a perfect person to have on.
Yes.
Those numbers I will immediately forget, and you'll have to do with a messagey thing to me of that. But that sounds that sounds super magical.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Zach, and we'll talk to you again for sure.
For sure.
You're fantastic, and you're the best. Enjoy, my friend.
All right. Bye, Zach.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good night. Love you.
Enjoy. Take care, friends.
Bye.